You ever walk into a room thinking it's going to be just another night and end up rewriting the rules for everyone there? That's what happened to Maisha Benetton a Friday evening that started with nothing more than a craving for a quiet drink and ended with an entire city's worth of egos, privilege, and entitlement tumbling down like dominoes. You know what I mean? Sometimes all it takes is a second, a single, tiny slip for the real hierarchy of power to reveal itself. It was just past 8 when I stepped through the polished glass doors of Aurora Lounge. Perched high above Manhattan, 45 floors up, right as the city surrendered its golden glow to the hush of night. I wanted to disappear into the background, let the quiet jazz and city lights wash away a brutal week of boardroom battles, headlines, and the heavy crown that comes with running a company everyone seems to have an opinion about. The lounge was my sanctuary, a jewel box of marble, crystal, and leather, a place I owned. But tonight I just needed to breathe, not to rule. Every corner hummed with soft conversation. Investors comparing hedge bets, tech founders in bespoke suits, consultants swirling rare whiskey. In here, power whispered, it never shouted. I wore my favorite charcoal sheath dress. Nothing flashy, just a quiet diamond pendant and the smallest peanut mark of ownership only the sharpest would ever notice. Even my heels barely made a sound. I just wanted to be another face in the crowd, not the headline. But the funny thing about owning the room, sometimes you can't hide, even when you try. I chose a seat at the bar, close enough to watch, far enough to blend in. Marcus, my general manager, offered the barest, not professional, discreet, but with the loyalty of someone who's seen you at your best and worst. My usual, an espresso martini. A small ritual bridging day and night. The glass was cold in my hand, the leather stool familiar under me, and for a moment, I almost relaxed. That's when the storm blew in. For young elites, barely out of college, but old enough to think the world owed them something. Logan Fairchild, self-anointed prince of entitlement, led the pack. He had that perfect navy blazer, hair swept back just so, the smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Elsa, platinum bob, diamonds everywhere but soul. Damien, with his flashy cufflinks miniature satellites spinning in the galaxy of his ego. Chloe, more absorbed in her phone and social feed than in anyone actually present. They clocked me as soon as I sat down. Maybe I wasn't loud enough for their taste, or maybe I just didn't fit their idea of what a VIP should look like. "Who's that?" Logan muttered, just loud enough for his crew to snicker. She looked like she picked that dress up on clearance. Elsa rolled her eyes, Damien nudged Chloe, and the laughter replete a brittle, practiced sound that didn't quite land. But I kept my focus. Let them play their games. I'd seen bigger sharks in boardrooms than these kids could ever imagine. The night should have drifted on, right? Instead, Chloe, looking to impress, lifted her champagne with a too dramatic flourish. Maybe she meant to toast, maybe she just wanted to show off, but her hand trembled. A spray of cold champagne shot across the bar, catching the light as it arced straight for my lap. You could hear the gasp ripple through the loungy, perfect, mortifying silence. Time slowed. I dabbed the mess with a napkin, not a flicker in my hands. Marcus, behind the bar, tensed, but I held up a finger. "It's okay," I told him without a word. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing me flinch. Every eye in the room tracked use investors, partners, strangers. I let the silence hang until even Logan looked unsure. Then I spoke, quiet but clear. Aurora Lounge was built on a foundation of elegance and respect. We pride ourselves on creating a space where every guest feels valued. The words weren't loud, but they landed with the force of a boardroom verdict. I didn't need to threaten, just a reminder of the standards, the ones I live by, the ones this place stands for. The young ones, for a moment, just stared. Elsa tried to laugh it off, but the sound died quick. Damien looked down at his shoes. Chloe's phone, for once, lay forgotten. That could have been the end. But then Logan, still desperate to salvage some sense of control, leaned in and said, "Tell me, do you actually belong in an executive lounge, or do you just play dress up for the crowd?" Yeah, that happened. The room froze, the music barely breathing in the background. Chloe tried to make a joke, but her voice cracked. Elsa's smile went brittle. Even Damien seemed to shrink. Let me back up a sec. There's a twist here you won't see coming. Marcus stepped out from behind the bar, not rushing, just letting his presence fill the space. Mr. Fairchild, he said, voice like velvet-wrapped steel, it seems we have a misunderstanding of our hospitality policy. His gaze swept the room. For the first time, Logan realized he was playing a different game, one with real stakes. That's when I stood up. No drama, just a shift in posture, a click of heels on marble. I crossed the room, every eye on me. In this city, influence is earned through integrity, not inherited wealth. I told them. Entitlement doesn't equal etiquette. Never has. Never will. I turned back to Marcus, and he gestured to the far wall where, under the spotlight, a bronze plaque gleamed. The Aurora Lounge, owned and curated by Isha Bennett. For a heartbeat, Logan looked at the plaque, at me, and back again, his confidence draining away like cheap champagne. Marcus let the silence settle before speaking. Our policy is clear. Any guest who disrupts the harmony of our establishment forfeits their privileges. No yelling, no threats, just corporate governance, simple and final. If you wish to regain entry, you'll need to schedule a personal meeting with MS Bennett. Logan's mouth tightened. Elsa and Damien shrank back. Chloe, red-faced, slid her VIP card across the bar, her hand trembling. Marcus took each card, placing them in a leather tray. Two attendants appeared silent, professional. We'll escort you out, one said, and a cleanup fee will be charged to your account. That precise number $2000 hung in the air, pure accountability, no room for argument. As the rich kids disappeared through the side door, the room exhaled, relief and respect mingling in the quiet applause that followed. I faced the crowd, letting my gaze sweep over the executives, investors, founders, people who understood what it meant to build something out of nothing. Leadership isn't about titles or gold cards. It's about cultivating an atmosphere where respect isn't a courtesy, it's a requirement. That moment didn't just end there. Phones came out, not in the hands of those kids, but the real players' notes tapped into tablets. Membership inquiries whispered, a vice president quietly sliding over a handwritten note asking about executive memberships for his entire team. Marcus returned to my side, champagne in hand, nodding toward the future expansion plans for LA, London, the whole 9 yards. Our reputation, now ironclad. I took a last look out over the skyline, city lights stretching forever. For a second, I let myself remember how far I'd come, what it cost to get here. But the real story wasn't just about me. It was about what we all build together. We're not just selling a brand, I told the gathering of partners. We're building a global community where every leader knows their dignity is our top priority. And as midnight rolled in, I raised my glass one final time, the soft clink echoing across the loungiest silent toast to those who know true strength isn't loud, and to anyone who's ever had to prove themselves to a world eager to doubt them. Out on the rooftop, the breeze cool, the city humming below, Marcus joined me for a moment of quiet reflection. True leadership isn't about dominance, I said. It's about fostering an environment where respect and excellence grow together. The story of a night would echo through boardrooms, LinkedIn feeds, and late-night texts long after we closed. Because, in the end, respect once restored never goes out of style. Now, let me ask you, in a world obsessed with status and headlines, where do you think true power comes from, inheritance or integrity? What would you have done in my shoes? Leave a comment, share your story, and let's talk about what real justice, real leadership really looks like, because maybe the next night like this, it's your move.